chapter. Okay, or the Excel. So okay, so we're recording now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the steps that are required in order to create this. And again, as we've been speaking, this format is a adjusted format versus what Excel would give you right out of the box. All right, so in order to create this, it's pretty easy, right? The key thing about doing this is trying to figure out what is it that I'm trying to graph. Well, I'm only trying to graph two things. I'm trying to graph the total, or three things, or two things across the spectrum. I'm trying to graph total spend and dollars per click over my time period. All right, so we've got months, and then we've got these two data values. So that tells me I've got three things I've got to be able to put on this chart. So the easiest way to do that in Excel is if we just highlight the month, drag through December, use Control, was it total spend? So Control for Windows, Command for Mac. So hold the Control key down for Windows, hold the Command key down for Mac, highlight and drag. Okay, that takes care of total spend. And then Control key and click and drag through, Command for Mac, the dollars per click. So now I know those are the three things that I want. So I'm going to come over here and click Insert. And you can click Recommended Charts. Excel's going to say, that's one way to doing it. So what Excel would be trying to do is compare what would end up being the blue dollar spend to the little orange mark down here, which ends up being the dollars per click. It's not what we're doing, and you were given the hint inside the assignment that it has to be a combo chart. So we're going to come over here and click on combo. Now, in the first time we did this, I didn't go through and change the chart axis the first time. We can do it all in one step here. So initially, I created the chart, accepted all the defaults, and let it do its thing. And then we saw that the line really is sitting down here. It doesn't really do much for us. It doesn't tell us much. It's like an orange line down there. So key to this one is to change the line to a secondary axis so that we're graphing the line against the smaller numbers inside the dollars per click. All right. Again, this is just an out-of-the-box templated Excel chart. I'm not necessarily worried, like I said, about you getting it exactly like this one. However, we can go through that and make that happen pretty quickly and easily. So the key to this line here is to make it a smooth line. So how do we do that? Well, we can click on the line, we right-click and click on Format Data Series. Then we'll come over here to the paint bucket, change this to a smoothed line. So now the line smooths out. Okay, so that's kind of what this one's doing up here. And its color's different. So we can come up to the color, and I believe it's that color right there. And so now we've changed the color of the line and we've smoothed it out, and it looks a lot like this one. Okay, so the next thing, if we wanted to customize the chart to look like this, is we would come over here and we would click on that series, the total spend series. And by default, Excel chose one of these templates, design templates. Well, doesn't really mean it's not the design template we were using, but it's no big deal. I mean, you could if you want. You can choose any one of these design templates if you want. But here, we're just going to change the color. And I believe it's that color right there. And there is going to be a line around the borders of these bars. That's kind of what this is. So we're going to do a solid line. I believe it's that line. And we could even increase the line point if we wanted to. I think that might be what the other one does as well. Yeah. All right. And then the thing about Excel, which is nice, is it basically does it while you're working on it. All right. So, and I think there may have been a font size change too, to make it change the width of these bars as well. Change the gap width down. You could do that. Not that I really care about what these are, but you could do some slight tweaks on the bars in order to get those to work, to make them look a little closer to that. So that's essentially it right there. It's up to you if you want to delete that chart title. If you want to match it exactly, just click on the chart title and delete it. So now it's gone. So now we've got total spend versus dollars per click, and it matches that graph a lot more than it did before. So easy for that one. Actually, it's a tricky one. It's easy when you see it. It's tricky to do, and it was done kind of just to sort of challenge you on creating that. And again, like I said, it's not important that you get this to match, just that you get the dollars versus dollars per click versus the spend to look like this. So it's bar on the total spend using its axis, and line, the line for dollars per click against its axis. All right. Any other questions on that? The bar and column charts are very straightforward. This is a clustered bar chart. So 2 columns or 2 categories, basically. We're looking at the movie genre versus the total dollars in ticket sales. That's a very simple, just highlight those 2 columns and then click on the clustered bar chart. Very easy. So if I came through here, I could just do this and then control or command click and do this, insert, and clustered bar chart right there. One of Excel's recommended charts, because Excel looked at it and says, that's probably the best way to do it. Or if you wanted to know pieces of the whole, then you could use pie chart, but that took care of this assignment. And then same thing with total sales by month. That's an easy one. There's our months, and then there's our total sales. So we simply drag across here, control click, command click for Mac, and clustered column, and clustered column. It's one of the choices that Excel gave you. And that's pretty much it. And then all you would do is you would just change the chart title to total sales by month. This one's a little bit different in that we're looking at all of the data. So we're looking at all of the months, all of the different genres. So we're looking at all of the movie genres versus all the months versus all of the ticket sales. So same kind of thing. We can come through, control click month, and then control click all of the dates or all of the data, insert. There are no recommended charts, that's fine. We can choose stacked column. All right, so Excel got confused on that. Let's do it again. Control, this time we'll pick the months and the dollars. Insert, there we go. And in this case, stacked column, 100% stacked column. And what this shows us is 100%. So in this chart, what we're trying to see is what was the total sales for the month of January, or by month, and how is it made up? So in a quick visual, you could see over the 12-month period that January, February, so the first half of the year, comedies were the big ticket sellers. And then that number tailed off a little bit. Maybe it's because there were some new releases in the first couple months, or maybe one in January, and then those ticket sales sort of tailed off as everybody saw the movie. And then the thriller category started off pretty slow, and then the thriller category got larger as the year went on. Well, that might be a situation too where we didn't have any releases, and all of a sudden we had a new release here or a new release there, and then that release increased ticket sales because there was a new release there. And we can look at here and we can say, oh wow, you know what, we're really, for the year, we didn't do much in the way of documentaries. Is that because there were no new documentaries released, or is it that's just not a popular category? So you might be a movie theater owner and going, how can I fill my seats more? Well, maybe I want to fill more seats with comedies and thrillers and have fewer documentaries in here so that I can get more people in here, increase ticket sales, and sell more concessions. Okay, so that might be just a quick thing. So if you're an informatics person or in any kind of field, really, it doesn't matter. You can basically look at that and go, we could make some decisions on this, or at least I could present this and make some arguments here as to, hey, you know what, we really should be adding more of these first two categories of movie to the theater and fewer of the others, okay, to maximize profits. So that's stories, again, they're telling us. So it's not real easy to see the story here unless you sat down and kind of just visualized and went through all these numbers, whereas you throw a chart on it, it's like, oh, okay, wow, I didn't realize that. So pictures always really help. Line charts, this one's real easy. So this is essentially the data of Google and Amazon stock prices from, was it June through the end of the year? I'm not sure which year it was. It looks like 15. All right, so very easy on that. We're highlighting this, and then we're control clicking on the others. So control or command these two, and we're going to see what Excel thinks is the best. Excel is pretty smart, and it knew right away that probably the best visual for that is a line. All right. The trick to the other parts of this is, let's see if I can move this back up. The trick to this other part is just adding a trend line. That's as simple as that. Just do a Control Z, no, Control X, and I'm going to paste it up here. Control V. So just click on the line. All right, and we're going to click Add Trend Line. Very simple. And it's going to give us trend lines for orange, which is Amazon. It's a polynomial line that we want to draw for that. So we're just going to come down here and we're going to click on polynomial for it. All right. And the Google price is a linear line. So we're just going to click on linear for that. Let's see. Format the data series. Where did you put my option? Format trend line. Give me that back. Oh, add trend line first, obviously. So I got to add the trend line there. And what did we say Google was? Google was linear. So we're just gonna accept linear on that one. And that's simple as that. And then add your chart title, closing prices. So you click on your chart total and type right in there, closing prices. 12/31/2015, I believe is what it was. Yeah, whatever, through. And done. Simple. So that one's pretty straightforward. And again, line chart with a trend line. So I gave you that clue there that there's a trend line that needs to be on there. And then this one's a very simple pie chart. So here we're pie charting only really one category. It's cost against the category. All right, so very easy. Highlight, control click, insert. Let's go with recommended again. Very easy. Excel says, okay, you can use that. That's a good way to do it. The only real thing you got to do here is add data labels. And Excel by default adds the data label for price, or what was it? No, cost. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we change that to percentages. All right, so I just went in and clicked the label option, opened up, that opens, or when that comes up, it opens closed, or comes up closed. We just open that. Excel just uses the value. We don't want the value, we want the percentage, and voila, it's done. And I think the only other difference here is that I think we bold those numbers a little bit, maybe, I think. Yeah, and then maybe increase the font size, but again, I don't really care about those formats. And that's it. So basic charting, really good, good to understand and get comfortable with these things, because if you can just throw a chart up against any data and do it pretty quickly, I think there's a lot of power there. And you'll get data sets in the future, whether it's for assignments or maybe for an internship or even a work job, and you can visualize it. It's pretty powerful. So that, does that help? I'll take that as a yes. So I am gonna stop the recording on this. I'll post the recording up to Blackboard after it converts and YouTube's able to upload it. We'll get it up there in a little while.